Hello, hi. How's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are all enjoying the retreat. I was at work for most of it, unfortunately, which I'm very, very unhappy about because I'm never usually at work at a time like this. But there you go. I'm in the UK, so luckily the opening session was at like midday where I am, and I managed to catch a couple. But then work in the evening, and I missed like 2 workshops on characters, which I really, really wanted to attend. But luckily, the Authortube virtual retreat is on YouTube, so I can always rewatch them later, which is the plan. How is everybody doing? This is the first time I've ever done like a presentation before, or like any live talking of things I do that hasn't been like pre-recorded or scripted. So this is going to be so much fun. I've got some tips and tricks actually from author Brinny Wang very, very recently about live streaming and little tips and tricks to learn and do on StreamYard. So thank you so much. My screen is just like an amalgamation of different tabs and application windows at the moment, so I can see everything that I'm doing. So yeah, this is going to be fun. Let me try a trick. We'll see what we can do. We're ready. Haha! Yes. Today, hello. We're going to talk about fast drafting, or how to fast draft your novel. Fast drafting is something I've been doing for a very, very long time now, and you know, I'm always harping about it. So yeah, hi. We're going to tell you how to do it today. But preface, I am not an expert on fast drafting. There is no class to take. It's something you learn how to do as you do it. So everything that I'm going to go through here is based on my own personal experience with what I find best works and does not work for me. Might not work for you. It's always worth a try. But yeah, I ramble a lot as well. So I'm very, very sorry if I do end up doing that. So, it is working, thank God. The one thing I was worried about was it not working. So we're going to start by talking about my personal experience with fast drafting without getting into too much details. I've been writing for like a very, very long time, casually for about 20 years, which sounds horrible to say. It makes me feel so old, but there you go. And I started taking writing seriously around 2007 when I finished university. Now, I very vividly remember the first novel that I ever wrote, the first draft of it finished, took me 3 years to complete. And after that, the second novel that I ever finished took me 2 years to complete, because I was very much one of those people who cared a lot about the quality of my first draft. Back before the internet was a big thing and I didn't know that you were supposed to do draft upon draft, revision and revising and editing and all of that. And yeah, an editor was there telling me that what I was writing wasn't good enough, it didn't make sense. I would stall and not be bothered to work on my writing because I didn't know what I wanted to write. I didn't know how I was going to write it. I didn't like how it was sounding. And I would just sit there with my page open like, I don't know, I can't do it. But then I discovered fast drafting, and it has changed my entire writing process completely. And since 2015, when I finished my second novel, I've written like another 6 since 2015. So fast drafting has really helped me be a lot more productive with my writing, despite the fact a lot of these novels ended up shelved, but that's besides the point. Today we are going to be talking about what is fast drafting, some tips and tricks that I have learned over the years, pros and cons of fast drafting, because yes, there are always pros and cons, and we're also going to have a Q&A session at the end. Now, feel free to at me with any questions that you might have as I'm going through, any specifics, anything you want elaborating on, etc., etc. But yeah, please at me so I don't miss it, because my window situation is an absolute mess. But yeah, if there are any other questions, we will have a little session at the end for anybody who wants something more. Right, so I need to make this last an hour, so let's get into it quickly, but as slowly as we can. There's also lots of quotes in here, just so you know. So sometimes in a nervous frenzy, I just fling words as if I were flinging mud at a wall. Blurt out, heave out, babble out something, anything as a first draft. Until it exists, writing has not really begun. John McPhee. Now, what is fast drafting? Fast drafting is, it's exactly what it says on the page. It is writing your novel fast. I always hesitate to say writing it as quickly as you can, because 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, I should say, as quickly as you can, for me, was 2 years, and that is not the point of fast drafting whatsoever. It's similar to zero drafting. For those of you who don't know, zero drafting is a pre-draft. I know a lot of people use their outlines as a zero draft. It's basically getting down everything that you know about your novel onto the page, which is what fast drafting is. It's getting down the bones of the story. Think of it as sort of focused but structured free writing. NaNoWriMo is obviously a fantastic example of a fast drafting writing challenge. You need to write 50,000 words in 1 month, which is a very good typical time for fast drafting. Tell me more. Okay, I shall. Please ignore me, I've been at work all day. There's no rules, specific rules regarding the length of time a fast draft needs to take. It could be as little as a few days or as long as 6 to 8 weeks. Usually doesn't take longer than 3 months, but again, there are no hard and firm rules on how long you need to be writing in order to call it a fast draft. To be honest, if you write it faster than you usually do and in a very short amount of time, it's a fast draft. It depends on the writer. Now, the key of fast drafting is to get everything down as quickly as humanly possible. Everything about your novel needs to just be put from your head and onto the page. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It doesn't matter if it doesn't sound right. That's a problem for later. No hesitation, no editing, and no looking back. Those final 3 are very, very important and are the absolute key to fast drafting. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why should I fast draft? Well, the worst is over quickly. I know a lot of people struggle writing the first draft. I used to be one of those people. I see and hear it all the time, where the words aren't coming. It's just not going as you planned. So, like with anything, the faster you get it done, the better. It forces you to brainstorm in very sticky situations. Even with an outline, if you are the type of writer who does outline, obviously, there are going to be moments where your brain stalls, where you can't think of what you want to write next, especially if you find yourself leaving the outline and going on a tangent. With such a tight deadline, you're going to be forced to brainstorm something to write as quickly as you possibly can. And I found that, you know, what you brainstorm in the heat of the moment is actually perfect for your story. It forces you to let go of all the myths of the perfect first draft. I used to be one of those people. The first draft has to be perfect. It has to be as written as well as I can possibly make it, because, you know, I don't want to do all the hard work later. But it is 100% okay to write badly during your first draft. I promise you that. It is only going to be seen by your eyes. No one else is going to read it, and you are going to make it better during your revision. So if you're going to make it better before you hand it out to the world, does it really matter how it starts? No, it does not. It helps you to learn to push past the fears and doubts that you might have about yourself and your writing. It pushes past all the fears you have about your skill as a writer. It helps you push past all the fears and doubts you might be having about your characters at the time or your story. You don't have time to worry about all of that with fast drafting. In practice, with a lot of practice, because it is a very difficult thing to sort of let go of all of the fears and doubts. They might even still be there while you are fast drafting, but it helps you handle the ability to just write without worrying about what it is that you are writing. And you finish your book faster. Really, if you're the type of person who wants to finish as quickly as you can, get past the hump, fast drafting, you finish your book faster than you would if you were not fast drafting. Don't look back until you've written an entire draft. Just begin each day from the last sentence you wrote the preceding day. This prevents those cringing feelings and means that you have a substantial body of work before you get down to the real work, which is all in the edit. Will Self. I really do love that quote. Embodies everything about fast drafting. Now, there are quite a few authors actually, who use fast drafting in order to get their novels down. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens only took 6 weeks for him to write. Fahrenheit 51 by Ray Bradbury took 9 days. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson only took 6 days. And The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne took 2.5 days for him to write. Now, I will sort of preface all of this by saying, not preface this, after-preface this, is that a word? It's not. By saying that these novels don't go past the 50,000 word mark. Fahrenheit 51 is only 46,000 words long. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is only 46,000 words long. Christmas Carol is only 30,000 words long, which for some reason I had in my head that it would be longer because it is Charles Dickens, but there you go. And The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is only 25,000 words. But they were all still written within 6 weeks, which is, all about the fast drafting. Now, that's obviously not to say that this is the amount of time it took for them to write their novel and then to get it published. Obviously, they are not publisher ready. They would have needed to gone through a lot of revisions and editing in order to get them to that stage. But that initial draft only took that short amount of time. So we're going to go on to some tips and tricks to fast drafting in just a second. Oh, my screen's being silly. Right, so these are my, I want to say personal, they're not my personal tips and tricks. These are the tips and tricks that I have learned over the years I have been fast drafting. The things that have helped me write the stupid amount of words that I write in the stupidly short length of time that it takes me to write them. The first one is to set your goal and stick to it, which sort of sounds redundant to say. Like, if you set yourself a deadline, of course you need to try and stick to it. I'm a very bad person who does not do that. I will set myself a deadline and I will procrastinate until like 4 days before that deadline, and then rush to do all of the work and then miss the deadline. But if you really want to do fast drafting, you need to set yourself a goal and you need to make sure that you stick to it. You don't have any time to dawdle and you don't have any time to procrastinate, because if you do, you are most likely going to stress yourself out, which is something that we all want to avoid. Don't worry about quality. Don't worry about quality. Look, I don't know how many times I say this in a lot of my videos regarding writing tips or writing advice that I have for people. The main one that I always have is don't worry about the quality of your work, especially the first draft, okay? Because it is a mountain of trash and you are a trash panda and it is your trash and you love it. But let's be honest, you will have some golden moments shining through, but the rest of it is most likely some form of usable trash. Okay. It's very difficult to make gold when you are busy shoveling trash. It's not impossible, of course, but if you're worrying about the quality of your work while you're trying to fast draft, you're going to be tempted to go back, you're going to be tempted to edit, you're going to be tempted to read through what you've already written, and that's just going to slow you down and stall you. So do not worry about the quality. Big one right there. No editing as you go. No editing. No editing. This is another big one which I am such an advocate for. Don't edit your work as you go, because you don't want your mind to get sort of stuck on this, oh, that doesn't sound good, I need to change that, or oh, that doesn't quite make sense with the plot, or it's a slight plot hole, I should go back and sort something out and make it fit right. Don't do it. That's what the revisions are for. Again, it's only going to slow you down. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there who can't help themselves, who have to edit as they go in order to, I suppose, feel good about themselves, so it's not constantly worrying at the back of your head that you've written something awful. If that is the case, then work out how many words that you need to write per day in order for you to achieve your goal for your fast draft, and do not go back over your work until you have reached your word count for the day. So if you want to write, say, 50,000 words in a month, which is 1,667 words per day, then write the 1,667 words without editing as you go. And once you've hit that goal, then you can go back and edit. You might find you're going to add more words on. You might find that you're going to do some extra writing. But yeah, while you're doing the actual writing process, don't edit. Don't do it. Staying accountable is also very, very important when you are fast drafting. Where am I? Here I am. Only you are responsible for your success, and only you are responsible for your failures as a writer, for failing to hit your goals or for failing to do the work. Just don't fret and don't worry about them. Just accept your bad days. Accept that you have procrastinated and move on to whatever it is that you need to do. I spotted something. Where am I? Dal, this is going to be impossible. I edit as I go. People do, it's fine, but again, you set your word count goal, finish your goal, and then edit afterwards. If you're only writing a short amount per day, it's sort of learning to not care what you write while you write it, and then going back to edit if you so choose to after you have done your goals. That way you're still hitting your goal every single day, but you are also doing some editing as you go, which will sort of make you feel a little bit better. I've got this screen here with 3 tabs, and then I've got my iPad down here as well to make sure everything's going okay. It's really, really weird. Where was I? Staying accountable, right. Make your goal attainable. This is also really, really important. Don't say you're going to write 80,000 words in 2 weeks if you work full-time, or you're a full-time student, or you have a lot of other things that you need to do or that you're responsible for, because it's not going to work. I'll tell you right now, it is not going to work if you try to do that. I probably couldn't even, no, actually, no, never mind. I could write 80,000 words in 2 weeks, but that's besides the point. You need to make sure that when you are fast drafting, you give yourself a goal that fits in with your writing schedule, that fits in with your life schedule, and that fits in with your writing ability. This is taking into account how fast you write and how fast you can write 1,667 words. Seems like any math I do now is just going to be taking its NaNoWriMo into account. You need to make sure that you have time to do life, that you have time to rest and relax and also do your writing. You don't want to overstress yourself. No distractions. Now, I don't mean like no internet and no phone, although to be fair, that will help. But I mean things like try not to get distracted by spelling or grammar while you write, which is a lot more difficult than I'm probably making it sound. I will do a sprint, and the amount of squiggly red lines that I will have on my page once I'm done, where I've spelled the TEH, or I've added 3 extra letters into a word that don't need to be there, or I've tried to write something like just stand, but instead I write justs tanned because I haven't managed to hit the space bar in the right place because I'm typing so fast. If you spot spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, you're going to feel the urge to click that backspace or get your mouse and go back and change them. Don't worry about it. Don't be distracted by it. Don't be distracted by your word count. Don't stop and do any research that you need to do. Don't stop and type into Google the word that you just can't quite remember at the moment, but it's on the tip of your tongue. Don't worry about any of that. Put in placeholders. Use the word elephant for any words that you can't remember, because you can go back and search for it and change it later. Just get the writing done. Don't worry about anything else. Right, small chunks throughout the day. We all know how much we like to just sit in front of our laptop or sit with a notebook and pen and paper and just write non-stop to hit our word count goal and until we've written it. But if you are doing a large word count goal per day, or you are a little bit busy during the day, it's actually best to do it in small bursts, taking breaks in between to increase your productivity. So do small sprints, write 15 minutes, take a break, write another 15 minutes later, take another break, write if you have time on your lunch break, you tap something on your phone while you have the chance. All of those small intervals of writing, the word count is going to rack up, and it's probably easier and less stressful and less pressure on you to get it done in 10 separate 10-minute sprints than it is to try and sit down and focus for an entire hour. It also helps focus. Right, we're going to pause there for just 1 second because Kaylin has a question. When you fast draft in general, what is your word count per hour, day? I know it fluctuates, but average. It depends completely on how long I give myself to fast draft or what the word count is going to be. NaNoWriMo, okay, we'll go with NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo, 50,000 words. I can write 1,600 words in half an hour if I am doing a writing sprint. So it would take me half an hour per day, maybe 35 minutes to hit my word count goal for NaNoWriMo. So I've done lots of 10K days before, again, doing sprints. But yeah, it completely depends on how many words I'm writing and how long I've given myself to do the fast draft. Most of the fast drafting I do is actually during NaNoWriMo anyway. So maximum an hour a day I spend writing. Right. I was just talking about writing sprints. Writing sprints is it's like my number one tip for fast drafting. Writing sprints are your best friend. when you're fast drafting. They are there to hold your hand, because just like fast drafting, the point of a writing sprint is to write as many words as you can in a very short amount of time. Doing multiple sprints a day is going to rapidly increase your word count. And if you practice your writing sprints, which is another part of the tip that I have, is to practice your writing sprints, you'll soon find yourself getting faster and faster while you write. So I find the key to writing sprints is to challenge yourself with them. So find out what your average is writing during, say, a 10-minute sprint. And then the next time you do a 10-minute sprint, your task, your challenge is to beat your previous word count, and then so on and so forth. That's what I did. That's why I can write 1,600 words in half an hour, Kaylin, because I practiced writing sprints so many times. That's just how fast my fingers go now. I am actually going to be starting a challenge where I try to write 5,000 words in an hour, which is going to be super fun. So which will definitely help with fast drafting if I can end up writing that many. Right, outlining or not. Now, is it helpful to have some sort of outline prepared if you're fast drafting? Yes, of course it is. It will give you exactly what you need to write. You know exactly where you're going. You know what the plot is. You know what the major beats are. You know that these characters need to have this conversation in this place. You know the setting and the description and all of those things. And if you're trying to write fast, having an outline will definitely stop you from pausing to trying to figure out what comes next. Is it exactly 100% necessary to have an outline when you fast draft? No, it's not. I fast drafted without an outline. I've pantsed an entire novel before while I was fast drafting, and that was me having absolutely nothing about the novel except for the sort of general plot, which was a sentence something along the lines of: a human discovers she's a fairy and goes to the human world to find her fairy counterpart. So I started fast drafting this novel with that one sentence in mind. I had no character names or descriptions. I had no motivations, no setting, absolutely nothing. And I managed to fast draft that. So it's not necessary to outline. It is helpful. So plotters, planters, pantsers, you can all fast draft. Believe me. Reward yourself. Always reward yourself. Even if you're not fast drafting and you are writing a novel, reward yourself, because you're writing a novel and it's a brilliant, fantastic, horrible, difficult thing to do, and it's going to be hard. So whatever you can do personally to make the process more enjoyable, the better. Having a reward is going to encourage you to finish. At the end of the day, you have something to look forward to once you have finished your writing. It's extremely helpful. So I thought of this in the car on the way home, on the way to work today, actually. I think it's called Good, Better, Best. And I think I first heard the term by Holly Davis Wrights, where she was talking about how she would set herself 3 word count goals for the day: a good word count goal, a better word count goal, and a best word count goal. So if she hit either one of those 3, she would have had a good day. Obviously a good day to hit the first one, the best day ever to hit the last one. And I was thinking that's a fantastic way to do a reward system, especially if you're fast drafting. If you don't have a specific word count goal per day in mind, you know, have a good word count, a good reward for if you hit, say, 3,000 words in a day. Like, you get to have like that sleeve of Oreo cookies you've got hidden away in your cupboard. If you hit 6,000 words, you can have the better reward, which is going out to Costa Coffee or Starbucks and getting yourself like a drink and a snack as a treat. And then the best reward, like if you hit 10,000 words that day, you get to go out like and buy yourself a new book or a new mug. Anything that you can do to want you and motivate you to keep writing, to hit the next reward, fine, go for it. Because you're writing a novel, fast drafting a novel, you're going to need all the help that you can get. Right, so we're going to pause. We're going to pause now. We're going to pause for the secret word. And I'm going to pause because I feel like I'm talking way too fast. I'm like, I'm so excited. So I'm going to, this tea is going to go cold before I finish this. It really is. And I'm not going to look forward to it, but there you go. Okay, so the secret word, each and every session and each and every workshop over the entirety of the weekend is going to have a secret word hidden somewhere in it. These are very, very important. Throughout the retreat, your goal is to collect as many of these secret words that you can. Write them down. Kaylin has a PDF with spaces for all of the secret words. I think, what was it, Kaylin, 47 secret words in total for all of the workshops and sessions over the next 2 days. She's got a PDF. Download it, print it out. It will make her day. And at the end of the day, at the end of the entire retreat, oh, my mouse did something, it's all fine. Fill out the feedback form for the retreat. Every single session, every single video, every single workshop in the retreat has this feedback form linked in their description box. Fill out the feedback form, enter all of the secret words that you have collected, because you could be in with the chance to win one of 3. Is it 3 now, Kaylin? Because someone got one earlier. One of 4 initially, $15. So I wanted to say pound there. $15 Amazon gift cards. And each secret word that you collect counts as 1 entry. So if you get 5 secret words, that's 5 entries. If you get all 47 secret words, that is 47 entries for you to be the chance to win one of these $15 Amazon gift cards. Now, it's a lot of words I need to read. The feedback form doesn't close like at the end of the sessions. It closes at the end of September. So you have the chance to go back through the playlists for both days and watch all the videos that you missed. Watch all of the videos you want to get those secret words. You have until the end of September to do so, to fill in the form with the secret words, and we will be announcing the winners at the beginning of October. Now, I've spoken enough. Hi, here is the secret word for this stream is butternut. Don't ask me why I picked that word. It just makes me laugh. Butternut makes me laugh. So I'm going to give you guys a quick moment to jot that down while I drink some more tea before it goes cold. There we go. And has everybody got that written down? Not that you can't come back later and get it, but right, we are moving on in 3. What was it for 2? Ah, lovely. 2, 1. Right. Get it all down. Let it pour out of you and onto the page. Write an incredibly shitty, self-indulgent, whiny, mewling first draft. Then take out as many of the excesses as you can. Anne Lamont. Right, so the pros and cons of fast drafting. There are pros and cons to everything related to writing, it seems. And going into it, yeah, the more pros and cons you know, the better. Again, these are personal pros and cons. The pros that I found and the cons I have found while fast drafting. Again, they might not apply to you, but if you are going to consider fast drafting or you want to give it a go, please take the following into consideration. Right, so the pros of fast drafting: your novel gets finished. That is, I suppose, the biggest pro of fast drafting is your novel's going to get finished 100%. You know this for a fact if you actually go ahead and do the fast drafting. Biggest pro there is. You are not going to waste any time editing scenes that you might later cut out of your novel. This is editing as you go, obviously. Personally, I don't think there's anything much worse than having to fully edit a scene and then decide later I don't want that scene, and getting rid of that scene because it does not fit because of more editing that I've done. And I've sort of wasted like 2 or 3 hours of my life editing this scene, and I'm not even going to use it. Personally, obviously, it's easier to maintain productivity while you are fast drafting. Once you start writing for a good amount of time, you're going to fall into this sort of groove. You'll be able to work for longer. You've got a goal to hit, so you'll naturally work more to achieve it. Again, this isn't quite taking productivity in the sense of your word count. This is taking how productive you are throughout the entire day. If you are separating all of your sort of writing sessions into small, manageable, bite-sized chunks, you'll find yourself just naturally more productive throughout the entire day and getting some more work done, rather than just sitting down and trying to get it all in one lump and stressing over it for like a good 4 hours. It helps build good writing habits. Writing daily does that to a person, whether you want it to or not, whether you mean to have or start a writing habit or not. Whether the habits stick in the long run, it completely depends on the writer. But I found that I'm more likely to go onto my computer and do a quick sprint, especially if I'm not feeling very writing during the day, because I know it's going to be over in 10 minutes, and it's not a purposeful habit, but it's one I've sort of picked up while fast drafting. It's just second nature to sit down at my computer now and, I suppose, write something quickly. No second guessing. Your first idea is your best idea while you're fast drafting. Maybe not so much when you're coming to the revision at the end, but you don't have time to second guess yourself when you're fast drafting. You don't have the time or the luxury to sit there and debate whether or not your character would really act this way in this certain situation. And you don't have the time to think about if this makes sense for the plot, or if that is actually a plot hole. You just got to write it and leave it alone and just get it done. And I found that most of the time, the first ideas I thought of in the spur of the moment work really well for the plot. I'm accidentally adding foreshadowing where I didn't mean to, or where I didn't want to, I should say, or I'm laying in foreshadowing for something I haven't planned, and I end up increasing the foreshadowing. You don't have the time. Now, there are cons, of course, to fast drafting. The biggest one is your first draft will most likely be of a lower quality than you are used to. Again, this is not necessarily true. I have found that 2 of my most recent fast drafted novels are of better quality than the novels that I spent 2-3 years writing. But that's just, is that my skill improving? Who knows? But it's not necessarily true you will have a lower quality first draft. It's more than likely you will have scenes that don't quite finish correctly. You will have some plot holes in there. Your timeline might be all screwed up, but it comes with the territory of trying to write 50,000 words in 30 days. The more you fast draft, though, the more you practice, the more you get used to it, the better your quality your drafts will get, because you'll get used to writing at such speed. You'll find what works and what does not work for you, whether you outline more, whether you feel like pantsing it a little bit because that works really well while you're typing. You will spend more time rewriting and revising your novel, again due to the lower quality first draft, again because there will be missing puzzle pieces, bits that don't connect quite correctly. You'll need to do more work for your spelling and grammar because you've been ignoring it and not editing as you go. Yeah, so it will require a lot more rewriting and revising. Not necessarily, you won't necessarily do more drafts, but going from your first fast draft to your second draft will take a lot more work to get it a bit more the way that you want it. Burnout is also very, very I've lost myself again. Burnout might happen. It happens with me quite a bit. I say it happens to me all the time, to be fair. There you go. You're doing a lot of furious, fast writing in a very, very short amount of time. And it can happen if you're not used to working to such a short deadline. Obviously, you're using so much of your creativity in such a short amount of time as well. It's only natural that you sort of get yourself into a slump during the fast drafting process, after the fast drafting process is finished, because who wants to keep writing after you've just written an entire novel in a month? NaNoWriMo again. It might not work well for your personal writing process while you try to use fast drafting. If you can't silence your inner editor, for example, or you find it difficult to not edit, if you don't have a lot of spare time during the day, fast drafting might not work as well for you. I'm not saying that it can't work for you, but it might not work as well or as you would expect it to. The stress of deadline looming. This is me in a nutshell, basically, when I procrastinate and then do everything in 4 days. It's a big goal that you're trying to achieve. It will / might stress you out. I can't talk right now. Will you maintain the productivity? Will you hit your daily goal? Will it be good? Will it work? All of these sort of questions that you have sort of increasing your anxiety, and it can stress you out, because it's a big undertaking that you're doing, and especially if you are new to fast drafting, there are going to be things that you are going to find yourself worrying about. It's natural, obviously, but it can happen. Ready to try fast drafting? How many people have I convinced to give it a go? If you have decided that you want to try fast drafting, don't worry if it goes wrong. Don't worry if you don't hit your word count goals. Don't worry if you can't finish. Don't worry if you give up after 2 weeks because it's just too much work. Fast drafting takes a lot of practice in order to get done. Believe me, don't worry if it doesn't work out for you. You can always try again. And if fast drafting doesn't work out for you, then it doesn't work out for you. It's not going to be a major loss. Practice writing sprints. Very, very big one. Again, I find that trying to challenge yourself is a very, very good way in order to increase the speed of which you write. Practicing writing sprints will also try and help you get over this whole editing as you go. It will sort of help you slowly get over the need to do spelling and grammar while you write, because you're trying to beat your word count goal for your sprint. You don't have the time to worry. You can worry afterwards. Increasing your writing speed obviously is going to very much help your fast drafting process, because you can write your set amount of words in a very short amount of time during the day, and you will have the rest of the day in order to enjoy and not worry about the writing. Start small and build up. Now, this is not in the sense of doing small sprints or small writing sessions throughout the day. If you are worried about fast drafting, if you don't think you can handle writing a massive novel, don't start with a novel. The number one advice I always give to people who want to do NaNoWriMo but are scared to, because they think it's a bit too much of an undertaking in order to write 50,000 words in 30 days. I always say start with Camp NaNoWriMo. It's smaller. You can set yourself a word count goal to your choosing, and you can build up your skill as a writer in regards to writing a lot of words in a short amount of time. So Try writing a scene without editing it as you go. An entire scene without editing as you go. Try writing a chapter in one day as opposed to writing it in 1 week. Small bits like that to sort of get you used to how fast drafting works. I did say fast drafting, right? I thought I didn't. Anything to help you get used to how fast drafting works. Giving you some practice runs so you know what works for you and what does not work for you. You might decide that after writing a few scenes without editing as you go, you can't not edit as you go. So then you know for the future, can you try and write the entire scene without worrying and then edit it as you go? If you can write a chapter in 1 day, then move on. Try writing 3 chapters in a day. That's good. Start small, build yourself up. So if you practice, slowly trying to increase how many words you write in a week or how many words you write in a day, you'll be able to build yourself up, I suppose, with more confidence that you'll be able to write 50,000 words in 1 entire month. User schedule is a good one, especially if you're busy. I say this, but I don't schedule my writing myself. Like, it's impossible for me to have a schedule at home. It's absolutely impossible because I've got 4 kids. So I can't say I write in the morning because I've got the kids, I've got the school run, and then I've got a baby who may or may not nap. I can't write in the afternoon because I've got the kids. It's a toss-up whether or not the kids go to bed nicely for me to write in the evening. So what I tend to do instead is say I'm going to write in the morning, but between 7 o'clock and 12 o'clock, I will get some writing done. That's my schedule that I give myself, or I will make sure that I write for 25 minutes before I go to bed is my personal schedule. But if you try to work out how long it takes you to write, say, 1,000 words, schedule yourself enough writing time throughout the day so that you know you'll be able to write those 1,000 words. So if it takes you an hour to write 1,667 words, 3 20-minute writing sessions per day is 1,667 words, and then just schedule that in between what you have going on. You'll do 20 minutes in the morning, you'll do 20 minutes at lunch, you'll do 20 minutes in the evening. So scheduling your time, not officially, but in that sort of capacity, is going to help at least to make sure that you actually get the writing done if you're not used to doing every single day. Take breaks, take lots of breaks, take breaks, please take breaks. Take breaks after every writing session. Take breaks if you feel tired, whether that is physically, emotionally, or mentally. Take breaks if you find yourself struggling. Take breaks. Make sure that you have enough to eat, make sure that you have enough sleep, make sure that you have enough to drink throughout the day, because you come first. Okay? If you don't feel like writing, then don't write. Nothing is worse than forcing yourself to write when you don't want to write, because then it feels like a chore, because then you hate doing it. And yeah, you might fall into a groove, but it's not worth it if you're not feeling it right then. Make sure that you do other things during the day that is not just writing, whether that is relaxing, watching Netflix, reading a book. Make sure that you replenish your creative well regularly, because it is going to run dry with writing so many words per day. And remember, the first draft is just you telling yourself the story. Terry Pratchett. Yay! Okay, so that was my presentation on how to fast draft your novel. I'm going to open up the Q&A now, in case anybody does have any questions that they want to ask, or they want anything clarifying. I just want to see who's here now. So I'm just going to go back through the chat a little bit. Dal is here, Kaylin, Colin, hi. Grape Fry, Tilly's Art, hello, how are you? Dahlia, okay, word. Savvy, hello Savvy, how are you? Ava writes is here as well. Hello. It's really weird me going over who's here and saying hello like an hour almost into this, but there you go, that's how it works. Whew. Hayley Haggerty is here. Hello, how are you? Catherine Fay is here. Books by Adrian. You guys are having such a fun chat. Kelly Martin Books is here. Hello, Kelly. I had to miss half of your Good Bad Guys presentation because I had to leave for work. I'm so upset. I missed the rest of it. I have it saved though, so I can always go back and watch it. So it's fun. There's a couple of comments here. So Valerie, balancing mum life and writer life has been really hard for me. Yeah, it's luckily for me, most of my kids are old enough that I can sort of, this is going to sound really bad, I can sort of ignore them a little bit during the day. Like they'll be watching TV or they'll be playing in their room and doing whatever. I won't need to like look after them. And I've learned how to write and type over their loud noises. It's like ASMR for me now, unless someone like majorly screams, but it is very, very difficult. But yeah, just do small sprints throughout the day. I used to do like if I had a spare 5 minutes, I'd write for 5 minutes. I'd keep a notebook on me and just jot stuff down because it was too difficult for me to just sit at my computer for an extended amount of time. But you get used to it and you'll fall into your sort of own routine, I guess, with it. Kaylin, great reminder for folks to take breaks today too. It's a long day of a lot of amazing info. Yes, there are so many workshops and sprints today, and I know people would like to go to one and then go straight to another. But everything's on YouTube and everything is saved, so you don't necessarily have to watch everything live while it's happening. You can go back and just rewatch it later, because it's not going to be good sitting in front of a screen for 12 plus hours. So yes, lots of breaks. Dal, I forget to drink, this alien forgets, and now she lives on Earth and dehydration is a thing. That is, yeah, I used to do the same thing. I've got a bottle of water now, which I keep on my desk at all times. It's a visual reminder sort of thing that I need to drink. Or a timer on your phone or something. Let the timer go off so you know you need to get up and get a drink, that you need to get up and get a snack or anything like that. It's yeah, I use a timer on my phone for pretty much everything really, because I'm gonna forget to do it. Let's see. The elephant tip blew my mind. Kaylin, I've been using it for years. I know a lot of people use different words, but then any word that you don't regularly use or won't use at all in your novel, just to use for a word that you can't quite remember, just type elephant in the search file, bring them all up, and more than likely, when you reread that sentence the first time after you've written it, you're going to remember exactly what that word is straight away, because there's no pressure from trying to remember what it is at the time. Water. Ryan, thank you for all the great info on fast drafting. No problem. I hope it helps a lot of people. Again, it might not work, but does that mean that you can't give it a try? No, it doesn't. I always say fast drafting is worth giving it a try. Even if you start small and you try fast drafting just a scene or just a chapter, just to sort of see how it goes. And yeah, it could work for you really, really well, like it has for me. It could not work really well for you, but you don't know unless you try. 21:54, we've got about 5 minutes. That's cool. I don't like having any other slides except for my up next slide to direct you guys to the next places. But yeah, this was fun. It was weird. I feel like I spoke way too fast and way too cheerfully. Like, I'm having a good time. Are you having a good time? Like, that's sort of what it felt like going through. Has anybody here actually ever tried fast drafting before in the past? I don't actually know. I feel like fast drafting is such a massive thing. Like, a lot of people do it, but then when I ask people, most people are just like, no, I don't do it. I've never heard of it or anything like that. And it's just really, really, it's not weird, I suppose. I suppose it's just a term that I use so much and I've seen around so much that I just assume it's one of those things that everybody does. So yeah, please give fast drafting a try. If you do choose to give fast drafting a try, oh my god, words fail me now. Please let me know if you do decide to give fast drafting a try, or if you do try any of the tips here today. Please let me know how it went for you, because I would like to know that my words helped people in some way. Oh, Kaylin, I fast draft now. It's not super fast, but much faster than before. Much faster than before is perfectly fine for fast draft. It's a fast draft for you, which is a fast draft. The more you practice, the more you'll get it down to writing things in stupid, insane amount of times. I'm doing something stupid for NaNoWriMo regarding fast drafting as well, but we'll talk about that later. Dal, I've never tried it because of my perfectionist self is like, no, I was exactly the same. And then in 2015, when I did NaNoWriMo for the first time, I had been stalling on my second novel for like months at chapter 8, and then I gave NaNoWriMo a go and finished it in the month, and I won NaNoWriMo. And then doing it sort of helped me push the perfectionism to the back of my mind while I drafted, and now I've never gone back. How fast can I write my novels, guys? We'll see how low I can go. Colin, thank you so much. I do a 0 draft. I have still been editing as I go. I'll definitely be giving this a go. That's good. I mean, it's very similar to a 0 draft, except you're just writing it faster. So if you do 0 drafting, that is what I suppose a fast drafted first novel would be. Very, very bare bones, need to fill in most of the details, but it's just writing it faster. So, 57, right, so we're going to go to our next slide. I have one more up next. Hayley Haggerty over on her channel. I took this from the website, Kaylin, okay? So unless you've changed what's on the website, this is what's up next. Kaylin insists you guys check out the website for the actual schedule and not use the links down in the description, just in case the links break. Passing on the knowledge, Kaylin. Hayley Haggerty is doing a workshop on outlining as a planter at as soon as this one finishes. And Zara Hoffman is currently doing some writing sprints over on her channel using the Forest app, Plant a Forest with me. So she's been going for this past hour, and she's also going for the next hour. So they are your 2 next stops on the wonderful journey that is the Authortube virtual retreat. Once again, the secret word for this session is butternut. Collect as many as you can. You have until the end of September to fill in the feedback form you can find in the description box of any of the videos over any of the 2 days in the retreat. The more secret words you have, the more chances you'll have at winning one of 4 $15 Amazon gift cards. Right. I thought that would not take as long as it did. I did ramble. I purposely rambled a little bit in the middle there to make this last longer, because when I did it in practice, it only took me like 20 minutes, and I was like, I can't have that. That's too short. Dal, thank you so much for joining me, Dal. This was so much fun. Hopefully these tips will help you. Yeah. So thanks to Kaylin, obviously, for setting up the entirety of the Authortube virtual retreats, all of these sessions and workshops, all of the planning, all of the doing. It's all been Kaylin. I don't know how she manages to do it all on her own, but somehow she does. If you guys do have any questions that you haven't asked, you can feel free to DM me at Instagram or leave any questions in the comments once this video goes live. I got a blank page on Instagram as well. And yeah, oh God, what one do I need? I don't know. This one, right? Thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and I will see